What's up, guys? This is Justin Lupica here from BlenderUnlimited.com, and today we're going to be talking about how to create a spider walk cycle in Blender. Alright, so this is the finished scene. We have our ground plane, a couple lights, my camera set up, and everything is animated and ready to go there. As you saw in the final result, slight camera pan, the spider walks, a nice soft shadow underneath. We're going to be taking a look at the dope sheet, the NLA editor with all of these action logs in it, and how we can set those up and how we can make it loop and how we go about animating this to make it look realistic, and we'll dive right in. So let me open up my recent Black Widow rigged and ready. This is a download from Blend Swap, and it is from WalkJock. It is a creation of the Blend Swap user WalkJock. He made this entire thing, so when you download it, it should look just like this. He did a great job with it, so props to him. I'm just going to delete all of that. This is your actual rig, so it's not like an armature type rig. If that's what you're used to when you download it, it'll be this that he's created, and he's parented various points of the spider to it, as you can see what these are. So this will control this leg, and it's deformed by what's on that layer, so these things, but we're not going to be using those, so I just deselect that, and then we just grab one of these legs, and it does a great job of deforming the mesh already. Let's go ahead and just delete the camera too. We'll add another one in later. So what I like to do, to start off with, I'm going to split my screen. One's going to be the dope sheet, which is used commonly for spacing out keyframes and editing keyframes. The other one's going to be our NLA editor, as you saw. And an important thing to do when starting any animation project is to look at reference video. So I would go to YouTube right now. I would pause the video, go to YouTube, and type in spider walk, slow motion if you could. Whenever I typed that in, I got a bunch of home videos that were real shaky, and they were not the greatest quality, but they got the job done. So it really helped a lot in studying how spiders walked, and I discovered that in a spider, it's basically a two-legged walk just multiplied by 4. So it's not like all of these legs are moving differently. It's this one and this one and this one and this one all go forward at the same time, and then it's inverted, so whatever is up. My phone's going off, I don't know if you can hear that. And whatever is inverted, the opposite one goes back. And then just like how when we go, we put left foot forward, and then as the left foot goes back, the right foot goes forward. That way we can walk forward. Just like these, when this one goes back, this one goes forward. It'll make more sense when I get into it. It's really not a hard thing to animate at all. So this really shouldn't be too difficult. By the way, the material that WalkJock gives us is fairly decent, so we're not going to be tweaking that at all. We're just going to be just animating it, since this is a character animation website. I'm not going to, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of modeling and rigging the character, that's not a topic for this tutorial. This is purely just animating it. So that's why I have grabbed a model off of Blend Swap. And for anybody who's going to say this isn't really my work, then I guess you're right, in the sense that I did not create this from scratch. However, the animation itself is my work. And seeing as right now, if I were to open up a timeline and scrub through it, nothing would happen. It's still an art form in itself of creating the actual animation. And seeing as this is an character animation website, and seeing as you came here to watch character animation, or seen this on YouTube or whatever, then that's what we're going to be covering. So it wouldn't really make much sense to me to start pulling out cubes and deforming them and making it a spider when it's a character animation website. So that's a topic for another tutorial. But right now we're going to get started on the tutorial, which is animating a spider. So we're not going to really need any constraints or anything like that. What we're going to do is I'm going to start off with the starting position. So I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to move it forward just outside the outside of the rig. I found looks pretty good. I'm going to grab this one, move it back just a little bit. This, whoa. This one, move that up. And as you can see, it may look like it's intersecting right now and colliding, but if you go around, this top leg goes way above it. So that's why spiders' legs have different lengths, is so that they won't collide into each other. There's so many in such a tight space, they have to be some above each other and some below each other, so it can actually move and not be smacking into each other, you know. So it's actually fine like that. It may look really unnatural up here, but it looks fine, I promise. Move that back and move this in. So as you can see, just on the right side of the spider's right side, but we're looking at it from the left. When one goes back, the other goes forward, and then whatever's forward next goes back, and whatever's forward goes back. So this works in sets of 1s and 3s. So as you can see, this is set 1 and this is set 3. So when 1 is back, 3 is back, and this one's going to be forward, so this one's going to be forward. I'm sure you've already guessed that. And then 2 and 4 work together the same way, just opposite of 1 and 3. So when 1 is back, 2 is forward, 3 is back, 4 is forward. And then 2 will be back, and then 3 will be forward, and then 4 will be stretched out. Just delete that. So that being said, let's go ahead, take that bad boy out, stretch that up about there. And again, these spider legs can come pretty close because they're of different heights, so it's perfectly okay. And I'm just going to grab all 8 of these. This is not a typical rig. This is like a parenting rig is what I would refer to it as in my head. Gosh dang it. There we go. So I'm gonna grab all of these. Oh, so it's not a typical rig. So it's not like in the next tutorial I have coming out. It's going to be how to create how to rig a bow with a fire arrow, and we're going to be animating it. I'm gonna try to make the fire and all that kind of good stuff, because who doesn't love that kind of stuff? And that's actually going to be using armatures, and it's going to be using IK constraints, and it's going to be bending the rig back on a tracking bone, with one bone affecting all the other ones, and it's all like part of one rig, even though there's like 4 different parts to it. And that's a traditional rig. This is not. So when I use this leg right here, all 7 other legs have no idea what this one's doing, and have they don't care what this one's doing. They care about what it's doing. So that's why right here you'll see I have I have mid leg handle R, mid leg handle L, hind leg handle R, hind leg, and I have 8 of them all the way for each leg. And then I also have one for the thorax, and then the main one, thorax handle, which is going to be this big one. And then there's one for the stinger and the fangs as well, but those aren't going to be keyframed. So when we do this, I'm going to keyframe the location, and you will now see that we will have 8 different things that just got keyframed into an action log. So when we do it, this used to be a snowflake, but now it's an arrow, I guess. So yeah, you'll see we have a ton of keyframes versus just a traditional rig. You would have just a few, and you would have plenty of keyframes, but it would be all in one action log down in the NLA editor. It'll make more sense later. But real quick, by the way, for anybody who is wondering why my blender looks different than the default, I'm sure a lot of people know this already, but you go to user preferences. It's usually going to be on like add-ons or input or whatever, or maybe interface, I don't know, but themes, and then you can either scroll down through all of these and change it. So if you want like a value slider, the actual slider to be like orange, then you would change these to be your color scheme that you want. And there's a ton ton of different options. So if you really wanted to go through all those, you could, but they have gone through the trouble for you and put in all of these presets. So you can go up here and click our theme, which is, blue and gray, it looks like. Science Lab, which looks pretty cool, but it's very neon-y, which hurt my eyes after a while. Yeah, you can just scroll through all of these and find which ones you like, but I chose Elysian, which is this dark gray and orange, and I think it looks pretty cool, so that's what I run with. And yeah, so if you want to change your blender, that's how you do it. Anyways, so now I'm going to jump forward to frame 5, just because I like to work in nice, even, round frames. Just a trick I've picked up after so many times of animating things. I don't like to have uneven spaces in between my keyframes. That may sound a little OCD, and it may be, but I just like to keep a nice, even distance between my keyframes. That way, during it's going back isn't faster than it going forward. It's all even distance. And then if I need to speed up something or slow down something, then that's what I have my dope sheet for. But at least I have in my head that everything's even spaced, and if I need to tweak it, then I can. But I find that's generally a good place to start. So at frame 5, I'm going to move this back, and yes, this is a little tedious, but thankfully we only have to do it like once, thanks to the power of the NLA editor and making it loop. A nice trick, makes it real easy. So while I'm doing this, I found a cool trick when I was animating and doing some research on this project about how spiders walk, and it's actually pretty cool, because spiders, when us humans walk, we use our muscles and our legs to contract and to release and expand our muscles. So that way, when we expand, our legs go out, and when we contract, our legs go in, and that allows us to walk with various combinations of different muscles and whatnot. Whereas with the spider, they use more of pressure. So they have a bunch of pressure built up inside their abdomen, I suppose. And when one leg goes out, it starts to fill that leg with pressure until it's expanded. It fills just like a balloon. And just as a balloon do, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and starts stretching out. And it'll start taking the form of perfectly straight. But the spider knows when to stop. So when it puts the pressure out, and it stops at this point, and then it will release pressure in this leg to release back to the. This is why when spiders die, I don't know if you've ever wondered this, but I've always wondered this. Why do spiders die with their legs curled up? It's because they lost all that pressure in their legs to be able to extend it. So when they die, that pressure is just released, and I don't know the scientific name for that pressure, but I'm sure there is one, and their legs just curl up. When us humans die, we just become limp, and whatever position we fall in is usually what we stay in, but with spiders, if they're dying, they don't all curl up in a ball right before they get hit with a shoe or a newspaper. They get squashed, and then their pressure just releases, and then their legs just curl up. So that's why it does it. I thought that was pretty interesting when I was doing some research on this topic. I thought that was really cool. Anyways, now that we have our first movement going, which by the way, my computer's running a little slow, so I'm gonna turn on simplify. Oops, to 1, not 0. I'm gonna change that to 0. Let me turn my phone on silent here. Apparently, everybody wants to get a hold of me right now. I'm going to grab this whole chain of keyframes. Let me zoom in here. Oop. Move to frame 10. We go to keyframe, duplicate, and then move it out to frame 10. If you copy and paste it, I tried this once. When you copy and paste it, it runs into some errors. So the workaround is to go select your keyframes, then go key, and then duplicate. And then now you should have your walk back and forth motion. Problem is it stops after 10 frames. So what we can do is we can come down here to our NLA editor, and this arrow right here will kind of force it into a locked action log. And in order to edit this, just like how you would over here, to edit something, you would push tab to go in edit mode. When you're over here, push tab, this will pop up and it will allow you, it will then put it into like edit mode in the dope sheet. So if we find four leg 2 handle L action, or 4 leg 2 handle L, which is this one, if we go ahead and collapse everything else, just to get that out of the way, 4 leg 2 handle action right here. If we went and move these keyframes, you can now see that they are moving underneath. And if you went into this and you tried moving 4 leg handle L, it would move, but it wouldn't really do anything because you're not in edit mode. So let's just go ahead and, oops, I guess it did down here too. Click that arrow for all of them. And this is where this type of rig really gets kind of on my nerves. You're going to hit N to pull the toolbar, just like this. And if you go all the way down to the bottom, you're going to see playback settings, scale, and repeat. Scale is not what you want. Scale will basically determine if you wanted to make this shorter, then it would speed up the animation to fit that. And if you wanted to make it longer, like 2, then it would make it 2 times the length of the previous animation, or meaning half as slow. Or if you wanted to go 0.5, then it would be 2 times as fast because it would be half the length, so it would spin it up. So that's pretty self-explanatory, but repeat is what we want. So I'm going to repeat that up to like 5. And I'm going to do that. Yes, you have to do that each individually. I don't think it'll let you do it like that. Nope, it'll just do whatever's last. Yep, that's Blender for you. No, for real, Blender's great. I love Blender. Just a few things like that. Custom rigs is, you know, a little unsupported, I found, with certain things. Like, you can't even copy and paste keyframes. You have to, like, go to key and duplicate like I showed you. But anyways, that's not that big a deal. So now we have that. So now if we go down here, player animation, it will now play our entire thing and loop it 5 times. That's essentially the tutorial. Okay, see you guys later. Yeah, there's not really much more to it. We're gonna animate that camera, but really, I mean, we can light it as well, but that's not really come on, what is this? Okay, screw it, never mind, it's not one to close. Anyways, oh, because I have this open down here, that's why. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you guys wanted to learn more, leave a note in the comments, and I can always do like an extra section for it. But yeah, basically that's how you make it animate. And then if you wanted to make it animate even more, to make it move along a path, then you could just drag this, and then as it is walking, you would just drag it along the distance that you would want it to. Make sure there's no sliding in the feet or anything, which is like a cool plane trick, where like you line the back of a plane up with one of the feet, and then as it moves forward, the edge of the feet always has to line up with the plane. It keeps sliding. It's actually kind of a neat trick. But yeah, if you guys wanted to do that, go ahead. If you guys create something with this tutorial, even better, let me know. I wanted to make it as precise and short as possible. 19 minutes ain't bad, I suppose. 20-minute tutorial on how to make a spider. So you guys can make a spider now in 20 minutes or less, you know, with all my rambling I do, you could probably do it in 10 or 5, who knows. Anyways, now I'm just rambling even more. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments, and make sure to visit blenderunlimited.com. There'll be a new tutorial coming out with the rigging a bow fire arrow. Make sure to like me on Facebook, subscribe to my YouTube. I'm on Twitter at Justin Lupica. Feel free to get in touch. I love getting in touch with my viewers. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. What's up, guys? A quick update for you before I lose you. on the last recording, I actually forgot to show you guys how to lift the actual leg off the ground. So right now, they're actually just moving back and forth without really actually walking. And that looks pretty unnatural, so I didn't want to just leave you hanging with it. And I actually realized it right after I pushed stop record. So to make it quick, I'm just going to show you how to do one, since we already have these action logs in there. It's not very difficult, and then that'll be it. So all you have to do is, with your action logs like this, go to this one is 4-leg handle R. So I've already found it down here. You push tab to go into edit it, and then right here you can tell in the time, the 5 frames that it takes for it to go forward. We're going to go right to the middle of it, push GZ to lock it to the Z axis, and yeah, about there looks pretty good. And then I location, and then now as it walks forward, it now lifts it off the ground and puts it down. In fact, we could actually probably go a little higher than that. I think maybe about there. Let's go crazy with it, huh? And yeah, that don't look too bad. Maybe a little lower. But yeah, that's basically how you do it. So for the next one, just tab out of that, go down here, 4-leg handle L. If you haven't like really followed along yet, it's actually easier to go ahead and do this before you hit these action logs. That way you don't have to find it and then tab edit and then go in and try to add in the keyframes while you're keyframing it in the other positions. It's actually easier to do it that way. So if you have not followed along yet and followed my stupidity, go ahead and I would recommend this. It's about there maybe. Grab that up. Yeah, about there. Location. Oh, and then I actually have my other keyframes deleted. So I'm gonna put that down. Location. Go forward to 10. Oh, okay, there we go. And it's down. So just like that. And now you can see those front 2 pick up the legs as you walk. So I'm not going to bore you with doing it to the other 4. Go ahead and do it. And let me know what you guys think. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging, so there is the update. So I've already done the salute, so I guess I will see you guys later.